Let's have a round of applause for some of our other comedians, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna be real. I didn't eat dinner yet, so I'm just gonna be eating on stage. Just move past this, try some new material. If you don't like it, I don't really care. Moving on. Anyway, let's get to the jokes. Suicide. I tried calling the suicide hotline number earlier this week, and they put me on hold. So if that doesn't describe my week fucking perfectly, I don't know what does. No, honestly though, I got some serious depression problems. I don't know if it's obvious. No, but seriously, I have some like serious problems with that, you know? And like, people get pissed because I'm a comedian, you know? And they're asking me, they're like, hey Bennett, why aren't you funny right now? And I'm like, first of all, that's just rude to say. Okay, that's like going to a nurse and being like, oh, why aren't you wiping my ass right now? Like, why aren't you... Like seriously, being a comedian is the only job where you're constantly expected to be able to do your job, okay? Like, let me put this in perspective. Like, you don't go to an engineer and be like, build me a robot. Build me robot. Build robot. Build robot. Build robot. Build me robot. And then like as an engineer, you're like, nah, it doesn't really work like that. I need like blueprints. I need like a place to do it, you know? And then they say some shit like, oh, I thought you were supposed to be a good engineer. And then you're like, what the fuck? No? What? Where did this come from? And then they always say some shit like, you know, I could probably build a good robot. And then you're like, oh, really? And then you're like, oh, yeah, here, let me tell you. And then they tell you, and it's always shit. It's always something they found off the internet. It's always something that's like simple A plus B equals C type format. Anyway, moving on. I went to Wendy's the other day because I was feeling the urge to splurge on some Frosties. You know, like, real talk though, I'm a fucking slut for those Frosties, okay? Like, dead ass, okay? Like, I want to meet the man who invented Frosties, and I want to shake his ass because I need him. He deserves it. He's a hero. He's a true American hero. Anyway, so I go to the drive-thru, right? And I'm like, I'm going to the box. And I order in the box, I'm like, I would like one Frosty, please. And he says to me, what's a Frosty?
What?
What's a Frosty? You're Wendy's. What do you mean what's a Frosty? It's your thing. Like, and then he's like, no, explain it to me. Explain it? What the fuck? You want? And like, keep in mind, like, not only does a Frosty appear twice on the Wendy's menu, but like, there's a giant cardboard cutout of it right next to the menu. So you can see where my frustration is. So I'm like, all right, bear with me here. You get a cup, put ice cream in the cup. That's it. That's all you gotta do. That's all. A little complicated, but you can probably figure it out. Joke a bit. So he's like, oh, you mean glop? And I'm like, what? Glop? What the fuck? What? And so I'm like, okay, maybe he just mispronounced it. Maybe it's like a speech impediment type thing. Maybe he's foreign, I don't know. I don't want to judge. I'm not a judgmental person, except when I am. And so I'm like, sure, blah, whatever. So I go to the next window, and he hands me something that is definitely not a Frosty, by the way. Like, I'm gonna put this in perspective to show you what it is. It's like it was like a root beer float, except the ice cream to soda ratio was flipped. So it was more ice cream than soda, and it was orange Fanta inside. Well, it can only be described as like edible vomit. Like, it's really disgusting. And I'm like, you cannot be serious right now. And he like edges me on. He's like, try it. And I'm like... So I take a sip of this thing, and I'm gonna be real with y'all. That was the best fucking dessert I've ever had in my life. It was like an orgasm of the mouth. I was amazed. And so I'm like, and so I like pace home. Go home. I'm pacing in my room. I'm like, there's no fucking way this shit could be as good as it is. There's no way. Like, I've never heard of it. I Google this thing, nowhere to be found. I asked some of my friends. I'm like texting them, look, yo, you ever heard of glop? And they're like, what the fuck? No, what? I'm like, there's no fucking way this exists. So I go to the Wendy's the next day. I'm on a mission now, okay? I'm on like some serious like Nancy Drew type shit on my investigations, okay? So I go to the window and I'm like confidently, I say, I would like some glop, please. And the lady says to me, what the fuck? What are you talking about? And I'm like, glop, you know, it's the ice cream in the cup. And they're like, oh, you mean a Frosty? And I'm like, no, like. And so I explained to her what happened. I talked to her about the guy who gave it to me, and she's like, explain him more, explain him. So I described what he looked like, you know, and she said, that guy hasn't worked here in 6 months. And I'm like, what? Oh no, this is some paranormal activity type shit. And that was that. That's the end of it. And what's super pissy about it is that I want my mouth orgasm again. All right, thank you so much. This is my time. Thank you.